This is Bruce Bochy, and you're listening to the Ranger Report.
Oh, the Ranger Report. Yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want the inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go!
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the World Series champion Texas Rangers, from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter, Tyler Nilson, Kane McCutcheon, and CJ Berryman.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ranger Report podcast. I am Ben Dieter, he is CJ Berryman, and that is Kane McCutcheon. What's up, guys?
What's up? How does it go?
It goes. All right, we are on the Fans First Sports Network. As always, we are your Texas Rangers source on the Fans First Sports Network, brought to you by Dallas Sports Nation, and of course on the Comfort Air online studio. As always, thank you, Mac. All right, we have a lot to talk about on this episode. There's a lot going on, so let's start by talking about, well, I think we should start by talking about Jacob DeGrom. I mean, that dude is finally, and we've said this on the last few shows, but every time he pitches, I think more that he's back to his old self.
Yeah,
Kane, don't you think?
It's such there's such an aura around it, right? Like I wrote about this a little bit in my game story, the game that he did pitch, but like they've been running the DeGrom Day billboards across the Metroplex like since the season started, like before his first start. But now it's like there's a certain like aura behind it, like people want to buy tickets when he's pitching, right? And it kind of all accumulated on Tuesday with his jersey night and him starting, falling on the same night. And he was just, he was dominant once again, other than the one pitch to Gary Sanchez. He shut the Orioles down again for the second straight time. Like, that's tough to do, to face a team twice and, your stuff still be as effective. And yeah, I mean, he was really, really good. He looks like, I think it's fair to say, we talk a lot about his old self, but I think it's fair to say that when Jacob DeGrom pitches, this is what you get, because it's never not been this. He's never struggled. Yeah. He just hasn't pitched. And so I think we're finally seeing what happens when he pitches, and it's fun to watch.
CJ?
Yeah, it's become must-watch TV when Jacob DeGrom pitches, and must-watch in the stadium. To me, Ben, you probably remember this. It reminds me a lot of Nolan Ryan starts. Like getting tickets to a Nolan Ryan game, and this goes back to old Arlington Stadium, pre-Globe Life Park. Getting games to watch Nolan Ryan, back when the Rangers weren't even any good, was hard to do. And that's what I feel. To me, it feels like that's where Jacob DeGrom is. And you talk about, Kane said it, he hasn't struggled. I mean, that's just how great he is. And Nathan Eovaldi talked about it too. Following Jacob DeGrom he's a tone setter, and everybody knows that they got to go out and try to not match him, but keep up the pace, keep up the momentum that he sets in each and every single one of his starts. And when you have Eovaldi, who for the previous 2 years has been the Rangers' number one, saying something like that trickles down to the other starting pitchers as well. Not that they need, much motivation, as they've proven with having the best ERA in the American League in baseball. So that his ability to go out there and just straight shut everybody down. It doesn't matter who he's going against. He might not be. You see him have a 2-run inning or something like that, but he still goes 6, and that's all he gives up. When you see those happen, it's like, oh, they're getting to him, and then all of a sudden he adjusts and just shuts him down the rest of the way. It's just impressive, amazing to watch, and amazing to see how easy he makes it look. I mean, going up there and just flipping 100 miles an hour, it's just crazy. And to flip it 100 miles an hour wherever he wants to is even more impressive. And we're so enamored with the pitch speed on the fastball. His slider and his changeup are just disgusting pitches. A wipeout slider, a changeup that starts over the plate and runs in on the hands to righties. Again, we mentioned last week, he throws changeups to right-handers. It's not often you see that. You don't usually see a pitcher throw a changeup to a batter that's the same hand, such as a lefty to a lefty, a righty to a righty. DeGrom is not afraid of that. He'll throw any pitch to any count. And, man, it's just been so fun to watch. Again, it's must watch, must see, and it's been fun.
I was just going to say, like, I think kind of something that CJ was talking about is, like, you know what you're going to get, and, like, you do, and the numbers back that up. Like, his last 14 starts, Jacob DeGrom, he's allowed 6 or fewer hits and 2 or fewer runs. That's the longest streak by a starter in the history of baseball. So it's you do know what you're going to get, and it's impressive to have a starter that is that consistent, putting up those lines, every 5th day. And something else that we maybe could talk about before we close the discussion on DeGrom, this hasn't really been widely put out there because it's just happened, but MLB.com released their power rankings of starting pitchers. Where I'll give you guys a guess. There was 10 people. Where do you guys think? I don't know. Did either of you see it first?
I didn't see it.
Where do you think they rank Jacob DeGrom out of the top 10 starting pitchers in baseball? Where do you think?
7? CJ, what do you think?
Who was it? Who was it that did the poll?
MLB.com. They do it every
MLB.com. I'm going to go with 9.
Yep, 9. Jacob DeGrom is, according to MLB.com, the 9th best pitcher in Major League Baseball right now. That is a little bit questionable in my opinion.
Well, they probably have the number 1 right fielder listed as, or left fielder listed as Jose Altuve. So, that tells you everything you need to know about MLB.com.
I mean, I'm not saying DeGrom should be number 1.
No.
Terry Skubal is number 1, and rightfully so. Like, come on, he's on the top 5.
That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
9 is a straight ass disrespectful. It's like they still think he's injured.
Yeah,
just haven't been paying attention.
9 is insane. And I was looking at kind of like some of the names that were in front of him, and like obviously we can debate like who should be and who shouldn't. But let me read you guys the names. So number 1 was Tarek Skubal. Number 2 is Zach Wheeler. He's been really, really good.
Yeah, he's been good.
Number 3 was Hunter Brown. He's been good. 4 was Paul Skeens.
Yep.
5 was Max Fried. And then after this, that's where I kind of drew the line. Number 6 was Framber Valdez.
No.
Number 7 was Garrett Crochet.
No.
Number 8 was Logan Webb.
No.
So after that 5, so that's kind of where I personally drew the line. But, obviously those are nothing official, just for fun power rankings. But fair to say I wouldn't agree.
I mean, the Rangers have the number 1 rotation in baseball. I mean, number 1 ERA in all of baseball. And they have only 1 pitcher in the top 10, and he's at number 9. Tell me that makes sense. Like, the Rangers are over half a run better than the next team in ERA.
You can argue, if not for injury, Nathan Eovaldi's been better than DeGrom. You can actually make that damn argument. And he's coming back from injury. He's making essentially his rehab starts in the majors. So he could have gone, if he was healthy, could have gone to a 6th, possibly a 7th, even maybe an 8th, if he was fully ramped up, but he's not. And he cruised through 5 innings last night. But just going back to DeGrom, it's a precedent set each time he goes out and takes the mound, because you know what you're going to get. And this is what every pitcher in the rotation now expects to live up to, or try to live up to. And that is as a fan, that's motivating.
Yeah, I agree. And even another guy we don't talk about much, I know we talked about on the last show, and I was there for his start on Monday, is Patrick Corbin has been looking in that game Monday, he had 1 bad inning where he gave up the 3 runs, and that was it. He was lights out the rest of the game. It was incredible. And then, of course, the Hellman stealing 2nd, 3rd, and home was pretty awesome in that game too. So, but this team, I'll start with you, CJ. This team right now is showing signs of life offensively, and they always have pitching wise, but now they're starting to show signs of life offensively. Why don't you start, CJ, by talking a little bit about the resurgence of one Marcus Simeon?
Man, and as my favorite Ranger, I had to admit earlier in the year that he's been nothing but a black hole in the lineup. I mean, that's just the truth. That's the way it is. I'm not going to fan code it. I guess is a term I'm going to use there. I'm not going to fan coat Marcus Simeon. He was under 200 for the first third of the season. That's bad. And you look at him, the way he's struggling, and you look at guy we're gonna talk about here pretty quick in a surprise move. You got Josh Young getting sent down because he had options. Obviously, Marcus Simeon doesn't. He's got that contract. He's not going to be going anywhere unless it's a rehab assignment, which he's got to be pretty damn hurt to not take the field. We've gone over that, his toughness and his willing to play every day. But to see him start swinging the bat the way we know he would, it wasn't going to last all season. You know, a first third of the season is a long ass time to suck. And that's what Marcus Simeon was doing. But what you're seeing now, I think he's hitting in a very comfortable spot in the lineup. Now, I think moving him out of the leadoff spot, he's just not the guy to lead off the lineup anymore. But where he's hitting now in that comfortable number 4 spot, and Adolis Garcia being hot as hell as well behind him, and Seager coming along the way he's coming along, he's getting healthy again. Now he's coming, back to Corey Seager. So you have the 3, 4, and 5 being what they should be. Your 3, 4, and 5 hitters need to be your best hitters in your lineup. And you can argue for 2 as well, just depending on who you have hitting at number 2 and how you're wanting to slot your lineup. But right now, the way Marcus Simeon's playing and the way he's hitting the ball and driving in runs and hitting the ball with authority, that is a great sign. Great sign, because it was a lot of pop-ups and ground outs for the first third of the season and swinging at bad pitches, which he doesn't usually do. He's a guy that's going to put the ball in play more times than not. So it's been fun to watch him in June so strong, and open July thus far is the way he has last night with that 3-run homer to really boost the Rangers out to the lead, where they just said bye-bye and ran away from the game. And it's just been fun to watch him as well. And I think the lineup right there with those 3, 4, and 5 hitters is going to be a recipe for a lot of success moving forward. And it has to be, because they're right up there now with the Astros. They're right on their tail. They're right up there with the Stros and the Mariners just a few games back. So hopefully that continues and we are able to see maybe a overtaking of the division before the All-Star break, although that's asking a lot, but we'll see.
Well, they're 9.5 out right now, so that would take a perfect road trip and an Astros winless streak to.
I'm sorry. I'm in the wild card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're very close to the wild card. So to say like they're out of it or they're gonna, punt is ridiculous. But I think you kind of hit on this, but just to hammer it home a little more, the Rangers go when those 3 guys go. When Simeon, Garcia, and Seager are going, that's when the Rangers are at their best, and that's when they're going. And it's kind of like, we obviously you look for other guys to step up, but it's like you really look at it and you kind of can pick out the fact that they were never really going to get going offensively unless those 3 picked it up. That's the heart of your order. And then that's all it takes, really. That's what, Bruce Bochy has been talking about the last couple of days is it takes, 3 or 4, 2 or 3 guys getting hot, and then your offense goes. And that's what we're seeing. And
yeah, he said that verbatim. I like that you brought that up because that's verbatim what he said. And he's obviously a Hall of Fame manager. He's exactly right. It takes more than one
else
guy.
That he said, too, that kind of really resonated was we've seen, here and there offensive explosions this year. They had the 16-run game against the A's. They've had a couple more. He was asked point blank, this one feels different. They're starting to get guys on base. They're starting to get hits with the runners in scoring position, even in some of the extra innings losses too. So it's not just these 2 games. It's, going back a little bit on the road trip to the extra innings losses to now these 2 wins. They're really kind of starting to get guys on base, pick up big hits. And it's not just like we saw last night. How big was Ezekiel Duran's 2 out, 2 RBI? You had guys on second and third. You were going to blow that opportunity if you didn't get a base hit. And he flips one up the middle for a 2-out RBI single. Marcus Simeon's home run came with 2 outs. They're starting to get big hits when they need it. And it's not always about how many hits you can get. It's when you can get them. And they're starting to get them when they need them. And so I think it's fair to say that this time is different. This time the corner is starting to turn. I think it could be fair to say.
Yeah, I agree. I think this offense has turned the corner. I think you're seeing everyone contribute. I mean, you're seeing guys, they brought up McKinney, they brought up Hellman. Those guys are contributing out there, working walks, getting some hits. Those guys are contributing. Then, of course, Osuna got his first home run as a Ranger on Tuesday, I believe it was, against Baltimore. So that was pretty big. It's like you said, it's contagious. I think it was CJ that brought that up. It's contagious. Simeon, Seager starts hitting, Adolis starts hitting, Evan Carter's getting on base when he's here. All of a sudden, the rest of the lineup is starting to hit around them. And like you said, Ezekiel Duran, huge to get that hit. He's probably going to be the third baseman between him and Josh Smith going forward for a couple of weeks while Josh Young gets his swing back. I expect to see Young back up after the All-Star break would be my estimation, is probably if he can get his swing right. If he can't, then it might be longer. But if he can get it worked out in AAA, I expect him to be back up pretty darn quick, in the next couple of weeks after the All-Star break. But, it's great to see the team working as a team. And speaking of working as a team, I think we probably need to address the Kevin Pillar comments on a podcast a couple of days ago. So I know both you guys heard it, but for the listeners, here's what Kevin Pillar had to say on his experience with the Rangers. He said, "I thought they would be a little bit more tight as a group. I thought it'd be like my experience in Atlanta. Everyone wanted to pull the same rope. Everyone wanted to hang out and do everything together. Winning was the most important thing every day. When I got to the clubhouse in Texas, there's a lot of talent in there, and there's a lot of individual stuff going on. A lot of guys are doing their own thing. You might not see people until the game. Guys are just sort of doing their own thing. Not a lot of batting practice, not a lot of stretching together. Maybe for me, just being the outcast, it's a lot of the same guys that won the World Series. So I was kind of on the outside. I was looking for more of a way to get to the inner circle, and that comes through stretching and BP. And when you talk about things that aren't baseball and you get to know guys. So that's what Kevin Pillar said about his time with the Rangers, is basically they don't really work together as a team. And Kane, you see him pretty much every day. And I know, Corey Seager especially is known for being very private. He doesn't do a lot. He doesn't come out for batting practice, things like that. So what do you kind of see being around the ballpark every day? And what do you think about what Pillar had to say?
Yeah, I think there's some truth to that I would agree with. And I think there's kind of some other aspects of that I wouldn't agree with. I think to an extent, it's a clubhouse that it's not self-centered, I wouldn't say. It's a clubhouse that's very focused on how are they going to win every day. But it's like, yeah, they do have a lot of guys that kind of, stick to themselves and have their own routine and, just kind of go about their own business. I think that's fair. I don't think that's a negative thing. It's been like that. It was like that in 23 when they won the World Series. So to say that doesn't work or that's a negative thing, I don't think that's fair. So I think that aspect is true to an extent, but I think maybe it kind of depends on who you are. I don't take that as a negative thing. Like I said, it worked in 23. I think that, the stretching and BP thing is interesting because, like you said, Corey Seager doesn't take batting practice. He has his own personal hitting coach, and he hits down in the tunnels and doesn't hit on the field. Other than that, pretty much everyone hits on the field in different groups. Like they're not always all on the field together. They do stretch. They take infield, outfield. Like they don't really do anything abnormal that most teams, don't do. Like every other team is pretty much doing that. So I don't know. I had to say like they don't stretch or take BP. Like that's not true. Like they do. We see it every day. They stretch and take BP.
Yeah.
I mean, I could understand like where he's coming from. I'm sure there's a group of players in the league that really want to be in communication 24/7, want to be talking 24/7, want to be breaking stuff down and just be a tight-knit group. And there's probably another handful of players that want to go about their own thing, and they're still close with the guys, but they want to go about it and take care of their business and have everyone else follow suit. And that's I feel like more so what the Rangers have, but it also stems from their leadership style. Like that's how Corey Seager leads. That's how Marcus Simeon leads. Like that's how the leaders of this team, that's how Jacob DeGrom and Nathan Eovaldi lead. They do their own thing. They go about it. They set an example, and the rest of the guys follow suit. That's just the leadership style of this team. Maybe Kevin Pillar might think it's bad, and maybe fan A thinks it's bad, but fan B thinks it's good. It's up for your opinion. But I don't think there's anything negative going on in the clubhouse or a disconnect between anyone. I think it's just the style of the way the team is led and the way the team runs.
I could give two squirts of duck shit if they're having dinner together after every game and changing each other's diaper, or if they're hanging out all the time and whatever the case may be. When it comes to non-baseball stuff, every individual, nobody knows more about what makes an individual tick than the individual. Am I right? So for things to work the way Seager does it, that's just the way it is. That's the way he leads. He's a lead by example guy. So is Marcus Simeon. There's not a bunch of raw guys. To me, it seems like a team that is, yes, used to one another, but also serious in knowing that it's got to be everybody's got the same mindset once first pitch is thrown, regardless of how they warm up or how they get ready for the game. And to me, obviously, if that's as Kane is saying, it's not much different than what it was when they won the World Series, and what the hell's wrong with it. I don't think Pilar meant for it to come off the way he made it sound. But it's just one of those deals where you look at, fan A. I've seen Kane. I know I know some guys, some folks on the Twitter that you're seeing that are saying, well, it must be this, it must be that. Oh, now the truth comes out. Well, Kevin Pilar was here for what? How long? And for people to put so much stock into what he has to say, no. Yeah, just that I'm going to believe what Marcus Simeon or Corey Seager, or what's a longtime Ranger at this point who's been here with those guys. I'm going to take their personal opinions into account a hell of a lot more than I am a guy like Kevin Pilar. But obviously he was asked the question and he answered it honestly. It's not like it was in Atlanta. No clubhouse is going to be the same. And I just think it was a situation of him just explaining the difference between the clubhouses, and he said it in a way that came off sounding worse than it really was meant. I don't know. I think you agree as well, Ben.
Yeah, I do. And I think, like I said, I don't think he meant it to come off the way it came off. I think he was just giving his observation of what he saw during his time there. I don't think he was trying to throw shade at anybody by any stretch of the imagination. It didn't feel like that for me anyway. I watched it. It didn't feel like he was like bitter or angry or trying to throw. It felt like just, this is what I thought I saw when I was there. It seemed like guys were more worried about, their own individual than team, which I don't know if that's true, but that's just his observation. I have no problem with the guy giving his observation. He was in that clubhouse every day for 6-8 weeks, however long he was here. So he saw what he saw. But like Kane said, and I saw Jeff Wilson tweet the same thing, is that, yeah, it's been that way since like 2022. That's kind of the way Simeon and Seager work. They're lead by example, not lead by, like you said, they don't put on a cheerleader outfit and go in the clubhouse and dance around and tell everyone to get ready for the game. I mean, that's not baseball. That's not the way baseball is, or as Ron would say, that's not the way baseball go. But, I feel like this team is struggling and I don't know why. And, Pilar just gave his opinion on why he thinks they're not doing real well, why he thinks, which they're not doing terrible, as we've mentioned. But I think Pilar is just giving an opinion. And like Chris Young's response said, I don't think Pilar understood that it would have the repercussions it had when he said what he said, because I don't feel like, and obviously Chris Young doesn't feel like he was trying to throw shade and be like, this team is terrible. He was just saying, hey, this is what I saw in my time in the clubhouse. And that's sort of what I take away from it. I didn't think he meant harm by it. And I don't think really it's in the long run, it's going to cause that much harm, because as most of us who cover them say, yeah, that's kind of what they've been like for years.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that's going to go away pretty quickly. Yeah, it's not going to be a cloud hanging around the clubhouse type of deal, or hanging around the team or fans. It's going to go away pretty quickly.
I don't think like obviously I disagree with the stretching and the batting practicing. I don't think what he said was wrong. Like, I'm sure that some clubhouses are closer than others. I'm sure some people just love to hang out with their teammates all the time. There's probably certain teams that do that. I'm sure there is. I'm sure he's been in tighter clubhouses. And I'm sure, maybe a couple other guys too on the team have been in tighter clubhouses. That's fair. But I just think maybe like, yeah, like kind of like you guys said, like obviously he maybe didn't mean to say it in the way that he did, but I just don't look at the club. I don't look at that as a negative thing, because like we said, that's how it's been. Like I don't take it as a negative thing. Yeah, and you did mention Chris Young's response too. That was definitely interesting to see. And obviously, like you said, you know, it doesn't do anything. You know, he doesn't take it any differently. The Rangers aren't going to take it any differently. You know, like, you know, Chris Young's grateful for what he did. And still, regardless, like, what a story, right? Like, he was going to retire. Kevin Pillar was going to retire. He goes to the winter meetings. He's meeting with teams. He signs with the Rangers. He makes the team. Like, regardless, like, the fact that he was able to contribute, you know, was really cool to see. But yeah, that's just my thoughts about it, you know, and take it or leave it as someone that's around the team, whatever. But I just think that, you know, that's the way it's been.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I thought it was funny that after the game last night, the Rangers tweeted after the win, just some guys who love playing baseball together. I felt like maybe their social media guy was trying to take a shot back at Kevin Pillar in that you know, ball game tweet last night, but I don't actually know their social media guy or girl. I don't know who it is, but they do a pretty good job on that account.
It's a couple people that run it, and they do a great job. Okay, yeah. They were also listening to Pink Pony Club in the clubhouse after the game last night as well. Maybe a little Chapel Run will get you going. I don't know, but that was
maybe. So I don't know, but I mean, if you look, like you said, when you bring in DeGrom, Seager, Simeon, these aren't guys that are known for being rah-rah guys. These aren't guys that are known for as hype guys, so to speak. You know what I mean? That's not what they are. Now, for the Latin guys, I think Adolis is a little bit. He probably hypes them up a little bit. You see them, and Kane, you've seen this just like me. You see them during batting practice stuff out there and during fielding practice. Adolis is shoving guys, and they're laughing and joking and yelling at each other in Spanish. You know, those guys are having a good time. So they have it out there. It's just your guys that are considered your main leaders of this team aren't the rah-rah type of people. And I think that's what a lot of people are seeing, and some people it just rubs the wrong way.
Yeah, honestly, when I think about this too, is like, you know, when you think about like sports in general, I remember like, during the NBA Finals a couple of years ago, a reporter asked Nikola Jokic, like, do you give speeches to the team? Do you, like, hype him up? And he's like, no. Like, but no one's doubting that he's not, like, no one's doubting that he's the leader of the team. Like, that's just certain people.
No,
certain
not
people
at all.
lead like that. And so the Rangers just have a lot of, are you good over there, Ben?
Yeah.
Did you just?
I just hit the wrong button on my chair.
I love Jokic. Yeah, I love Jokic's answer, too. That's literally kind of what it was, Kane. It was like, no. And then that was
they
it.
Rangers just have guys that lead like that, and that's fine. That works clearly.
Yeah, it clearly does. I mean, they're not like, again, it's not like they're the Colorado Rockies. You know, they didn't just win their 20th game of the year. You know, after 80, they're actually doing pretty good right now. They're just one game behind 500, and like you said, what, 2.5 games out of the wild card maybe, and you know, they're 9.5 behind Houston, but Houston's not going to play at this pace for the rest of the year. Houston's on a tear right now, and if they do, then they're winning the World Series. But if they don't, they're going to turn back into a normal team again at some point. But anyway, that is what it is.
What Houston's doing is insane. I mean, Yordan Alvarez has not played basically the entire year, for the majority of the year. Now you're without Jeremy Pena, who is one of, if not your best player, and they just keep doing it. It's insane what they're doing. They are. I think if you were going to look at the division, they have nearly a 10-game lead right now, and say they're not the favorite to win it. Like, that's just not realistic. Like, you can't look at it and say they're not the favorite.
No, as a Rangers fan, I hate it, but it's true. They're still the cream of the crop in the AL West, and maybe in the American League.
Yeah.
So it bothers me.
The AL's pretty wide open. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, because, like, I mean, think about, like, the West is shaping up, you know, kind of how it traditionally has. But you look at, like, the Tigers are, you know, taking over as that top team in the Central, and some of those teams have kind of fallen off. You look at the East, and it's like all of a sudden the Blue Jays are tied at the top of the East with the Yankees. They've been playing unbelievable. Rays have been playing unbelievable. It's like, man, it's going to be really interesting to see how the AL shapes up.
Yeah, because we started the season saying, well, after about a quarter of the season, we all said there might just be one team coming out of the AL West. There is nobody right now that looks like they could even sniff a wild card. And now you kind of look at it again, and the AL Central's come back down, and AL East has come back down, and Now look at the Rangers, just right there in the wild card hunt. So there could be 2, maybe 3 come out of the AL West. We'll see.
Yeah, I think Seattle and Houston will probably both, or either Seattle or Texas, depending on who finishes in that second spot, and Houston could both make the playoffs.
Yeah, but you could also say that there could be 3 coming out of the East. If you look at the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Yankees are playing right now. Because, I'm sure we all think the Central is one team, and it's the Tigers, and that's it. I don't anyone else. But you look at, like I said, you look at the way the East is shaping up. You look at the way that the Rangers and the Mariners are still in the wild card hunt. It's interesting. It's really interesting. And, it's going to be fun to watch down the stretch.
Yeah, the AL Central looked a lot different the first quarter of the season. The Twins were winning a jillion games in a row, and they were looking really strong. And obviously, the Tigers are there, and so the four teams in the AL Central, not named Chicago, were looking really good. And now they have come back down to earth in a big way. But go ahead, Ben. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I was going to say Detroit has a 12.5 game lead right now in the American League Central. The Rangers have a better record than any other team in the American League Central. The Rangers at 43 and 44. They have a better record than anyone else besides the Tigers in the AL Central, and they have a better record than the other 2 teams in the AL East as well. So, but like you said, Tampa's come on, Toronto's come on. They're essentially a 3-way tie for first place right now. It's just Tampa Bay's a half game out because they've lost one more game than the other 2 teams, which is just crazy. And then, the most wins in the American League too is Detroit, which I wouldn't have said that. But after they made the playoffs last year, you got to admit they looked like, I hate to quote John Smoltz, but they look like a team who was going to have a bright future.
Yeah, no doubt. And you look at the young talent that propelled them, and then now you're getting contributions from Javi Baez is going to start the All-Star game. Like, if you would have told me that in 2023, I would have told you were crazy. And he's playing great defense in center field too. And, look at someone like Riley Green, who's really taken that next step up in terms of stardom. And obviously, what the pitching is going to bring with Skubal and Flaherty at the top, and they're probably going to go out and add another starter too. And so it's like you're getting the young guys, and you're also getting contributions from some other people that maybe, Javi Baez in specific. When you get all-star level contributions from a player that you didn't think was really going to factor in much, that's huge. And so, they've been really good. And what's interesting too is Detroit has 54 wins. Houston only has 2 less than them. They have 50. So that tells you something about how good the Astros have been playing as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the Rangers in 2023. We had contributions from guys we never thought we were going to get those kind of contributions from. Adolis had a breakout year. Evan Carter in the postseason obviously made a huge impact on this team.
Ezekiel Duran being as hot as he was when Corey Seager went down for an extended period of time. Yeah, that's what helps propel you to the playoffs and possibly a World Series.
Yeah, you look at the Astros on paper at the beginning of the year, and they look like they were taking a step back. And like Kane just said, now look at them. They're 2 games behind the best record in the American League. So, you never know. And again, there's nothing said that the Rangers, when everyone gets back healthy, we're going to have John Gray back pretty soon. We just got Jake Berger back. Hopefully we'll have Josh Young back being productive again. You've got Josh Smith being probably the best hitter on the team for most of the year. You got Seager coming out of his slump. You got Simeon way out of his slump. You got Adolis looking good again. Evan Carter, when he comes back, he's been playing pretty good. Wyatt Langford was running bases. Kane saw that and getting ready to play again. So he's about to come back. Of course we lost. Oh, and I wanted to mention, by the way, before we get off there, what a job by Dane Dunning last night saving the bullpen.
Yeah, really the last 2 nights, you look at Dunning and you look at what the bullpen was able to do.
And Latz.
Yeah, Latz. That's huge. You're going on a long road trip. Obviously, you have the off day today, but at that point where they were at, Bruce Bochy was saying it's going to take 2 to 3 days to reset a lot of those guys. And they got that. That's huge. Those are the mini wins that they felt like they stacked up so many of in 23. That really, really, really go a long way in terms of shaping up a playoff team for sure.
Well, for me go ahead, CJ, go ahead.
It just goes to show you how important that long relief role has become in the majors. Now you don't just have 1, you have 2 in your starting staff, in your pitching staff, that you need to be effective in order to save your bullpen. as Kane mentioned. And the Rangers did that in front of an off day. And I can't tell you how important that is to save those pieces and get those guys back in working order and keep them in working order moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know so I hope it builds some of Dunning's confidence, because putting up those zeros for 3 straight innings, was it 3 or 4? Did he pitch 6 through 10th or 6 through 9th?
It went from Evaldi to Webb to Dunning. Webb pitched
to Webb, that's right, and then Dunning did the 7th, 8th. Yeah, so, I mean, as bad as he's been for the last 2 years in the majors, it was really nice to see him put up zeros for 3 straight innings last night. I mean, I know you guys agree with me. I like Dane Dunning a lot. As a person, he's amazing, but he has struggled so much since the World Series year. He has struggled just immensely. So it was really nice for me to see him come up last night and in that spot and put up zeros for 3 straight innings like that.
Yeah, and I just have to add on there to Ben. It's so good to see Dane Dunning come out and pitch well. It's to see for a great guy, and for a guy that was struggled immensely the past couple of years, kind of hopefully find it. But that was a huge thing that he did for the Rangers right now at this point in the season. So hopefully see that more for him. And yeah, again, great guy. You just can't help but root for him.
Well, and just like hitting, good pitching is contagious. You know, and Dane Dunning came up here. You don't want to be that guy that ruins the bullpen ERA. You know what I mean? I mean, I know these guys think about stuff like that. And, the bullpen ERA is incredible. He didn't want to come up here and give up 7 runs in one game and screw up that bullpen ERA, Kane.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, like you said, you want to be the guy that helps the team, helps the bullpen, and they take a responsibility for it throughout the whole pitching staff for their teammates as much as themselves. Like, they want to go out, and even Evaldi's talking about how, on his first start, he's talking about he's only able to throw 3, and he's talking about how he wish it could have gone longer to help the bullpen. And even last night, like, they're always talking about helping each other out and providing that relief for one group and the other. The bullpen, it comes in and it's been taxed. So what did the starters do? The starters try to go out and give him some length. DeGrom gave him length. How about Corbin getting that extra inning on Monday when he was already at almost 100 pitches? Like, that's huge. Those are the mini wins that go a long way. And they're you look at it, and when they've been winning, ever since that last road trip, they've been starting to stack up those mini wins.
All right, and they've got a tough schedule coming up. I saw San Diego is really good. That's who they have next in San Diego, starting tomorrow. That's going to be a tough series for them. So that ought to be interesting anyway. And then after that, let me get to the right month here. Yeah, after that they have the Angels 4 in Anaheim. Hopefully we can win that series, and then the huge 3-game series against the Astro before the All-Star break. So if the Rangers can come out of this week, they have 10 games. If they could come out of this week 6-4, I'll be thrilled. What about you guys? Oh, we lost Kane.
100% lost Kane. 100% agree. Come back with a winning record off of that road trip. It's going to be a difficult one, but if you can come back above 500, I'll take that any day of the week. And then, hit the All-Star break, get some rest, recharge, and come back, because a lot of guys are going to get extra rest because they're not in the All-Star game, as we mentioned. Right now, it looks like DeGrom's going to be our only addition to the game. So a lot of extra rest there. So hopefully a recharge team coming out the other end.
I mean, even 5-5, that keeps you 1 game under 500 to the All-Star break. I'd live with that too. I don't want them to go 2-8 or 3-7 in this next stretch. But I think the San Diego series is going to be the toughest, and then the Houston series. But we have kind of owned Houston in Houston, so hopefully we can win 2 of those 3 games down there. It's not Minute Maid Field anymore. I don't remember what it's called now, but it's Astros Park.
Whatever that place is called.
No one cares.
No one here cares.
No one here cares. No one listening to this podcast cares either. Well, except for the Astros fans who hate us that listen to try to find, inconsistencies. But everybody else, none of them care.
God bless them, by the way. God bless those that try to find the inconsistencies.
Hey, man, a listen's a listen. You know what I'm saying? It still gets us money.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we lost Kane, but this has been the Ranger Report podcast. Been fun. Always love doing it. Oh, well. All right. Well, that was all we had anyway. So I will see you guys on the next one.
Dropping deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.